So we became, should I say, annoying. We became, in a way, the bad conscience of a few European nations. They admitted us as individuals, but they didn't admit us as a family. No family ever has been cut or separated like the Romanov. And this is something which is very important, because a family must stick together. When it goes apart, it becomes with less strength, less, may I even say, avec moins de vérité, with less truth. We are non-existent. That's much worse. It's not a question of hatred. We are non-existent. We do not, most of the time, because of lack of money. But we are, the most important thing for the Europeans is to keep the Romanov in silence and away. That's the important thing. The separation of the various members of the family have taken part of the strength that the family used to have when our fathers were alive. And the biggest reason is that some have become Italian, some have become English, others have become American, Danish, I'm French. So where's the Romanov family? And it seems to me that really most of the royal courts in Europe, how can I put it? Really, they are pleased that the Romanov family is now nearly non-existent. The most important for all of them is to keep the silence, except when it comes to the bones. The only Romanovs which are very useful today is the imperial family and their death. Now, I would like you to introduce my grandmother, Princess Olga Paley, who married my grandfather, Grand Duke Paul Alexandrovich, who, as you know, is the last son of Alexander II, called the Liberator. And on the left side is the Emperor, Nicholas II, on holiday in Crimea.
How many Romanovs are left?
It's a very good question. By what I hear, we are between 51 and 52, including the children and the grandchildren. Most of them not speaking Russian, unfortunately. And this is one of the problems about the young ones, the young Romanovs, is that as the years go by, there is less and less real Russian heart, Russian soul. I don't think that the youngsters even know really at a certain time what the Romanovs meant and what the family meant when they were living in St. Petersburg. It's 70 years ago. The first time I went to St. Petersburg, I could hardly speak Russian. I had great problems. And I met with a young journalist, was probably 42 or 43 years old, and I was introduced to him as Mihail Fjodorovič Romanov. And he turned to me and he said, "But you're a liar. All the Romanovs are dead. How can you be a Romanov?" And I had to say, well, some did not die, and some escaped and had children, and I'm one of those children. And I'm coming back in the city of what I call the city of my father.
We are getting...
He was astonished.
Thinking about your mother, Do you think that she told you some things which you know about? Do you think that she knew some secrets?
Mother, as a rule, never talked about the past, except if she talked about her mother or her father, or her sister, of course, but the sister was alive, living in New York, but was alive. Otherwise, she would never talk about Russia. The only thing she told me was the escape at night with a officer from the Russian army, white Russian army, on foot. That was full winter, so the Lake Ladoga was completely in ice, and they walked for 2 nights and 1 day, and the Soviets have put some kind of lighthouses along the border, and each time they would get into the lights of that lighthouse, the officer would put white sheets on them so as to be absolutely invisible. And Mother never forgot. This she told me. The escape to Finland, she told me. And where they waited for their mother, Olga, who was still hoping to be able to save her husband, Paul, who was already killed, 2 months before. No one told her.
Beautiful, huge property you had in Russia. This is a small house?
This is a very small house. I wanted a smaller house in St. Petersburg with that dirty son of a gun subject. He said, no, nothing. Ничего не получится. Хорошо. He died, thank God. I wish some more could die. Those are the helicopters from Roissy to Issy-les-Moulineaux. Every 20 minutes for the very rich businessmen. Hold yourself straight.